Welcome to your June 2nd, 2025 briefing on Homeland Intelligence Report. Today's topics include a terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado, against an Israeli solidarity march. Also, we will talk about a Ukrainian drone swarm attack on the Russian Air Force bomber fleet. In this and every episode, we strive to provide you with brief, relevant intelligence information free of conspiracy theories and unvetted analysis, content that allows the mature, educated American to make good decisions regarding the state of the world and threats to the homeland. This comes curated for you by an active supervisory rank law enforcement officer with extensive experience in critical incident management, tactical operations, and public order. I am also a former infantry non-commissioned officer, decorated in combat during Operation Iraqi Freedom, and a former U.S. government contract staff member who specialized in intelligence and low visibility, high threat security. I have significant formal education as well as practical experience in all phases of the intelligence cycle. Through these lenses, I endeavor to read between the lines for you, the consumer, to help you form your own well-informed outlook on the world. No currently classified information will be shared on this channel ever. Period. I want to be upfront with you. I use an AI voice in this because using my own voice would require that I clear my activities through my agencies, PIO, and attorneys. As always, we ask that if you are looking for a worthy organization to include in your charitable giving, please consider the Third Option Foundation. This organization works quietly to support the men and women of the CIA's Special Activities Division and honor the fallen operators whose names most Americans will never, and many times, can never know. You can make your tax-deductible donations and learn more at www.thirdoptionfoundation.org. On June 1st, 2025, a targeted terrorist attack occurred at the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, Colorado, during a peaceful demonstration organized by the group Run for Their Lives, which advocates for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The assailant, identified as 45-year-old Egyptian national Mohammed Sabri Soliman, employed a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails against the demonstrators, injuring 6 individuals aged between 67 and 88. Witnesses reported that Solomon shouted phrases such as "Free Palestine" and "End Zionists" during the assault. The FBI has classified the incident as a targeted act of terrorism, and Solomon was apprehended at the scene and is currently hospitalized with injuries sustained during the attack. Investigations revealed that Solomon entered the United States on a B1/B2 non-immigrant visa in August 2022, which expired in February 2023. He had been residing in the country illegally since then. The attack has raised concerns about the potential for ideologically motivated violence within the U.S., particularly in relation to the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. Authorities are examining Solomon's background for any connections to extremist groups or influences. The incident has prompted increased security measures at similar events nationwide and has been condemned by officials as a hate-driven act of terrorism. This is about as low budget as an attack can be. A few glass bottles, some gas, and rags. Now multiply it by 3 or 4 and put a small team on a bridge or balcony above a march, street fair, or outdoor concert. Fire is an innate fear built into our brains. It's quite literally claustrophobia and drowning mixed together while burning alive. I pray for the victims and hope for a full recovery for all. However, I am professionally pessimistic given the ages of the victims. This attack underscores the necessity for heightened vigilance and intelligence sharing among military, law enforcement, and intelligence communities to identify and mitigate threats posed by individuals inspired by international conflicts. The use of improvised incendiary devices in a public setting highlights the evolving tactics of lone wolf actors and the challenges they pose to public safety. Continued collaboration and proactive measures are essential to prevent similar incidents and to protect communities from ideologically motivated violence. This year has seen a number of lone wolf-style terrorist attacks in the United States, both in major metro areas like D.C. and smaller, more hometown America, places like Boulder, Colorado. On June 1st, 2025, Ukraine executed a large-scale covert drone operation, codenamed Operation Spiderweb, targeting 5 Russian military air bases across Murmansk, Irkutsk, Ivanovo, Ryazan, and Amur regions. Utilizing 117 first-person view FPV drones, the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, reportedly destroyed or damaged over 40 strategic aircraft, including 2 95 and 2 22M3 bombers, as well as a 50 airborne early warning and control systems. The drones were clandestinely transported into Russia, concealed within specially modified trucks, equipped with remote-controlled roofs, allowing for discreet deployment near the targeted airfields. This operation, which took approximately 18 months to plan, was personally overseen by President Volodymyr Zelensky and SBU Chief Vasyl Malyuk. The strategic impact of the operation is significant, with Ukrainian officials claiming the destruction of approximately 34% of Russia's strategic cruise missile carriers, amounting to an estimated $7 billion in damages. The use of AI-guided FPV drones in this context demonstrates a notable evolution in asymmetric warfare capabilities, enabling deep strikes into adversary territory without direct engagement. Notably, the United States was not informed of the operation in advance, indicating a high level of operational security and independence in Ukrainian military planning. The Russian Ministry of Defense acknowledged the attacks, labeling them as terrorist acts and confirming fires at the Olenya and Belaya air bases. The operation has elicited strong reactions within Russia, with some commentators likening it to a Russian Pearl Harbor and calling for severe retaliatory measures. The timing of the strikes, occurring just before scheduled peace talks in Istanbul, adds a complex dimension to the ongoing conflict, potentially influencing diplomatic negotiations and highlighting the escalating capabilities of Ukrainian forces in conducting deep penetration operations. In the grand scheme of major military strikes, this is not an expensive attack, especially given the return. FPV drones are a low-cost solution compared to strategic bombers, stealth jets, and precision-guided munitions. I did some research earlier and talked to a friend in the know about these fiber optic controlled drones. I thought the launch point or point of origin would have to be quite close to be able to string a fiber optic cable to the target from the base. However, in my discussions and research, I learned a fiber optic drone can carry 20 kilometers of cable in a spool with a 50 millimeter core, an outer diameter of 164 millimeters, and a width of 50 millimeters, so 1.9 inches thick, 6 inches wide, and carrying 12 miles of cable. That cable is 125 microns thick, or 4/1000ths of an inch. For reference, 4-pound test monofilament fishing line is twice as thick as that fiber optic cable. I think it is time for law enforcement to get serious about drone defense. I imagine all the suicide drone technology out there in open sources, due to conflicts around the world such as Ukraine, Syria, and Libya, in the hands of anti-law enforcement groups here in the U.S., along with terrorist cells within the country. I can think of several scenarios in which law enforcement would have no defense, outside only the largest and most prepared agencies in the country. Even then, agencies like NYPD or LAPD do not use drone detection, let alone drone defense, to protect their stations. Think about flying 1 or 2 suicide drones into an open garage door in an indoor parking area at a police station. Another nightmare scenario would be a drone attack, at a parade. SWAT snipers in Overwatch and public order cops in the crowd are utterly helpless against such an attack. Major steps in this area will, however, require significant assistance of the federal government in the way of exempting law enforcement from regulations surrounding the downing of drones. The FAA had a major issue during the Dakota Access Pipeline protests when law enforcement shot down protester drones, which were swarming helicopters, monitoring the protests and providing overwatch for drilling equipment. Every week we see it, the attacks keep coming. It can't get any more obvious. Terrorism, both homegrown and imported, is here. It's active. This month holds the 250th U.S. Army Birthday Parade, which will coincide with the No Kings nationwide protest on June 14th. I can hardly imagine a more massive target for a coordinated attack nationwide, both at the parade itself and at the hundreds of massed gatherings in opposition around the country. I hope you've learned something today. As always, be well and be well informed.